All right, guys, how you doing? I just want to talk about a few things here. Um, First, let me reiterate what this channel here is about and why I'm even interested in Gypsy at all. Okay, I'm with the group, and we study the occult and their practices. It's a bunch of researchers. There's a retired attorneys. There's active attorneys. There's police. There's retired judges. There's researchers, history buffs, all these different people, and we're just a network of people that we study the occult and its practices, and we're interested in these killings that are rituals and sacrifices. We're not about this channel's not about a crime, just true crime buff, right? So a lot of times, like the minutia of the case and stuff, I don't sit and study. I mean, I'll read over this stuff, but I don't sit and pick apart the autopsies like that and the crime scene photos that, like I should really, if I was doing it that way. But no, we're about, because it's a sacrifice and a ritual, or I won't even talk about it. Like Wendy Adelson, when we get into that one, I'm waiting for her to get arrested again, guys. It looks like it's about a custody thing. On the surface, yeah, that's what it's supposed to. But what it really is it's a sacrifice that Wendy had completed, or I wouldn't be studying that, and I'll show you all the evidence of that. The Brian Kohlberger case, that one's going to be up next. I gotta get the information on that. I got to get time to study that. But this is what the channel's about. That's also a sacrifice ritual killing. Now, some people like to comment to me and say, "You think everything's elusive?" No, I don't think. Most killings, that we know of, where they get caught and it's in the spotlight and there's someone being on trial or whatever. Yeah, most of the time those aren't the Luciferian sacrificial or ritual killings. Most of the time they're not. Most of the time those people don't get caught. Okay, but just because 100% of my cases are that, or I wouldn't be covering them. That's the point. Okay, just because 100% of my cases are doesn't mean I'm saying that 100% of the cases that are. You guys follow what I'm saying here? But anything I do, so I'm not going to be talking about other murders, so I don't. What I'm saying is I don't study the evidence like that, and I get little of the minutia wrong. But what I'm telling you is these are ritual sacrificial killings. I wouldn't be talking about it, and we wouldn't know any information about it if it wasn't these kind of killings. And we get a lot of our information from interviews and other things like that. All right, interviews, court records we look at. Um, get the case information we can get, and so the shit matches up. All right. Most of the information with Gypsy is secondhand from people that are friends with or ex-girlfriends of Glidewell and Ace Bannister, whose real name is Brian Rogers. Okay, I wouldn't be doing Gypsy's case unless that's what it was, and that's exactly what it was. And I would never say this about anybody unless I knew for sure that was the truth. They did a ritual and sacrifice and took her before Nick got there. Then they cleaned up the best they could, moved her body into the bed so they could trick Nick, and that was that. That's what happened. Okay, now I want to clear some things up, because like I'm trying to tell you is the point of this channel is to point out the sacrificial and the sacrifice killings. Okay, so some of the evidence I might not get right, and I know that, and if I do something, I'll try to correct it if I see. But the minutia I don't get right sometimes. But what I'm telling you is what went down. The rest of them doing, you guys are they're basing it on faulty autopsies and other information that they're getting through these FOIAs. It's a lot of it. Okay, because we should, and it's a shame, we should be able to count on autopsies being real and correct. We should be able to count on anything from the police and anything from the state. We should be able to rely on that as fact. We should be able to. But there are some cases where you can't. And this is one of them. Okay? The autopsy alone, guys, they're lying about the manner. They're not the manner, but they're lying about the cause of death. They're saying it's multiple stab wounds. That's what it says. The manner is homicide. The cause of death is multiple stab wounds, meaning that she bled internally to death. When you look at the body that they found, there's no way she bled internally to death, or she'd be black and blue head to toe. So you know that's a lie. The most important things that an autopsy is supposed to figure out is the manner of death, which in this one is homicide, the cause of death, which again is exsanguination or hypovolemic shock because she lost all of her blood volume. That's the real cause of death. And then the other thing is the time of death. Those are the three most important things they're supposed to get out of all of this. Okay? And they're lying about the cause of death. So you can't trust any of that. From that alone, guys, if they're lying about that, you can't trust it because that body would have been black and blue. If they're saying that she died by 1,000 cuts, they're saying that all those little stab wounds that she got didn't bleed out, somehow started bleeding into the cavities. And if that were the case, 3 days later, she would have been black and blue head to toe from the blood trying to escape. But I argue once the blood's removed, which what they did, and they removed and drained the blood, that's why that didn't occur, because there's no blood in there to go anywhere, you guys. Just like when you get a regular, I hate to keep saying this, but when you get a bruise, if someone punches you, you run into something, that little bruise is because you broke some blood vessels, some capillaries in there. And that's just a little tiny bit of blood that you're reabsorbing because it's blood. That black and blue is made because of blood. And she would have been black. If you bled internally, the blood has to go somewhere. It's just not going to just sit in the cavities and let her body remain pink 4 days later. It doesn't do that. They know that. It doesn't do that. So that's a lie. That means the whole thing you can't trust. All right? Now, what I want to do is I want to first address something. The sleeping pills. Again, this is the thing where I messed up. I knew that she communicated to Nick at some point about the sleeping pills and that she's knocked out like that. Don't worry. You know what I mean? I mistakenly, I guess, said that right away when he got there, she told him. Well, apparently she did it via a text message, which then I thought about that. That's even worse. It would have been just that she spontaneously said to him, oh, she's in there she's knocked out on sleeping pills. Don't worry. You know, that's bad enough, but that would be bad enough, but we could maybe buy that. But no, she sat down and thought up to type him a message saying, oh, well, she's at peace or she's knocked out or whatever she said. I don't know. See, this little minutia, I don't know, because I'm not studying the case like that, like a true crime thing. I'm not doing it like that. I know it was a sacrifice and ritual, and that's what I'm just telling you, is to recognize that is all. And that it happens every day all over the place, all over the world. And that's what I'm trying to point out. This little minutia, I mean, you know, but I don't want to look like I don't know what the fuck's going on. For those of you that know that, well, no, she did it in a text message. Okay, I get that now, all right? Same difference, though. She communicated with that, and it was a lie. And there's a reason she told that lie. And it was because she wanted him to not be alarmed that why is she not moving around or fighting or doing anything? Oh, she's knocked out on sleeping pills. That's right. All right, so anyway, I wanted to cover that up. And then another thing I want to do is I read you all's comments as much as I can, okay? And one particular comment stood out to me, and I want to address it. And I'm going to read the comment, actually. It's by a person named Lady Justice 6855. I'm going to assume that's a woman, right? It says, could you answer a couple of questions for me? I've asked these questions over and over again. Why was Dee Dee's door missing off the hinges? Because the crime scene photo showed one with Dee Dee's door on the hinges, and the other showed it was off the hinges. No one answers or explains. Okay. Well, let me just read the whole thing, then we'll go do it that way. Second question. Now, this is the verbatim the comment that's in the video. Second question. Dee Dee's, Gypsy's, and Nick's blood was on the murder weapon. What does that mean to you? To me, that means Gypsy was involved. And then in parentheses, it says all three blood on the handle. Please answer these questions if you can, as everyone else ignores it. If you can, please. Also, I'm pretty sure that Nick arrived at 2:04 a.m. All right, a couple things. The way she has said over and over about no one's explaining this, no one will answer it, they're just ignoring. She's talking about content creators in their videos when they're asking these questions. I mean, that to me is really screwed up that no one, and she's saying this happened more than once too, that no one's even addressing it. How about, I don't know. Just tell her, well, I don't know. I don't know that. right? I just think that's despicable and looks at me like, and ma'am, I'm just telling you, Lady Justice 6855, ma'am, first of all, thank you for viewing and thank you for commenting. And these are very good questions you're asking. Think to yourself that maybe these people are trying to hide something, or they're up to something, they're trying to ignore something like that. And also check in, do they just not answer anyone's questions, this particular content creator? Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Because if they just don't answer anyone's, well, that's what you're just dealing with, an asshole. All right, so let's look at this real quick before the time runs out. The doors missing off the hinges. That's a great question, because you know what? That's something I should make a whole video on. There's discrepancies in these crime scene photos. There are some, I was told she didn't have hinges on her bedroom door. That's what I was told, and that's what I believe. Okay, probably, and the reasoning, I don't know why. Could be a few things. Wanted to keep her eye on wild-ass Gypsy, didn't trust Gypsy in some kind of way, or maybe it has something to do with those children that they had, that I still tell you they had there, that they were helping traffic by babysitting. Might have had something to do with that. I don't know. But there are discrepancies in crime scene photos. Also, and I know this because I have husky knives that they found on a sink, right? And then other crime scene photos that you see later that go to the public had it photoshopped away. It wasn't there, or whatever they do, but they deleted it. And other things in these. So there are discrepancies in the crime scene photos, which right there should tell you there's something shitty in Denmark with the investigation, okay? Leads back to what I say, okay? So that Nick's door thing, from what I understand, ma'am, is there wasn't one on the door hinges, okay? Now, we also got all three of them's blood on the knife. I don't know this to be true. I haven't heard this. Again, I don't look through the evidence like most of these true crime people do, and like maybe, you know, because again, I'm just telling you that I know the only ones I will talk about are going to be sacrifice or rituals. I won't talk about it. I'm just going to try to, and I just am trying to show you that it was a sacrifice or ritual. That's kind of what I'm just trying to do with all of them that I'm going to do. Like Wendy's going to be next. Wendy Adelson will be next. So that's what I'm doing. So the minutia, I don't, you know, but that's a very damning piece of evidence if that's true. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. And, you know, I'm going to ask, where did you find that? And, well, people comment, please, if this is true. Because, well, yeah, that tells me that what I thought anyway, that Nick couldn't do it. So she went in there with him and had it on his hand and was stabbing into it together. Just so she could say that this idiot helped me fucking kill her and get out. Right? That's how they were treating. I'm not calling him an idiot. I'm saying that's how they're treating it. Like, let me listen, fucking idiot, this fucking moron that we've tricked, that's got disabilities and stuff. That's why they did this. That's why they got him, so they could trick him like this, you know, and confuse him and all this. Let's just do it and get out. That's what I think, ma'am. I think that's why all three of them's blood, if that's true, would be on there. Okay, all three of them doing it. He cut himself, like we know. Gypsy. If that's true, that's what I would think. All three of them doing it together, or both of them doing it. All three of them, you know what I mean? Both of him and her doing it to him. Because I don't believe he could even do that on his own. I don't even think he could have stabbed a dead body on his own. I don't believe that. I still don't believe that. I think she helped him with the whole thing. And I believe she was dead already, though. I know that. They drained her in the kitchen, you guys. Judas sacrificed right around midnight. They drained her blood. Then they moved the body with the sheet. David Blanchard, Ace Bannister, real name, Brian Rogers, and Dan Glidewell moved her with the sheet back to the bed. That is what happened. And you know it was a police cover. It was bullshit the way they did the whole thing. Look what they didn't do. They didn't do anything they were supposed to do to that crime scene in any other circumstance. There's blood all over the kitchen, but there's no blood in the bed. Did someone see the DNA analysis of those blood drops they found all over the kitchen? They were supposed to swab those and DNA analysis. Whose fucking blood is it? Did they do that? Or are we just going to all assume it's Nick's because, well, Nick said he cut his hand and so does Gypsy agrees. So that's all Nick's blood. Did they analyze that? Where is that at? All right, guys. So I just want to talk about this and address this email because that's a shame that these content creators are not even addressing. These are good questions. These are very good questions. And I didn't know about all three of them's blood on that handle. If that's true, please, someone in the comments verify that for me, confirm that, because that's very good, interesting information to know that, right? All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.